Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first GenWell session for this year. As always, it is recorded because we also know that many people cannot watch it straight online. My name is Jaco Fischer. I'm a director of GenWell Blue Star. And with me is Susan. And yes, the surnames are the same. I'm married to Susan. So this lovely lady is my wife. And yes, she is also involved with GenWell as our well-being specialist. She's a qualified social worker. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what she's going to share with us this afternoon. So, Susan, over to you.
Thank you, Jaco. It's lovely to be here this afternoon. And it's nice to speak to all of you and to share a little bit, especially on emotional resilience. I think that's a topic that often I feel like it's only the social workers and the psychologists that have knowledge about this. But today I want to explain it in a very simple way and to show you that you can practice it in your everyday life. And I think most of us, we need it. We need it, especially in today's hectic lifestyle. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can you see, I hope you can see my screen, emotional resilience, techniques to build emotional strength in times of stress or uncertainty. So I think we all have in common that life is unpredictable. We all know that challenges and setbacks are part of life and it's inevitable for all of us. So it's important to understand that resilience is not something you have or you don't have. It's not something that the psychologists and the psychiatrists and maybe the social workers have, but it's something that every one of us can cultivate in our own lives. And I think if we practice it mindfully, then our resilience can grow. Then resilience is also not being able to avoid the challenges and setbacks in our lives. It's really something that we have to learn how to adapt, bounce back and grow stronger in that adversity. And from that situation, you learn something and you grow stronger. So it's something that all of us can cultivate. So I'm going to show us a video. I just want to share my screen for the video. And this was really a nice example for me because it's simple and it's an everyday. You can make it relevant in your own life. This example that they used. So I am just going to get to my video. If you can hang on just 1 second. I just want to check and make sure. Can you see how to be more resilient? 6 traits of resilient people.
Resilience is a skill that can be learned, and I was watching a creator the other day who totally embodies it, Laura Kamp. Like, she's such a great example of resilience.
Oh, hi everybody, and welcome to my bathroom.
Sorry, I just want to increase the sound, and then I'm going to start over.
Resilience is a skill that can be learned, and I was watching a creator the other day who totally embodies it, Laura Kamp. Like, she's such a great example of resilience.
Oh, hi everybody, and welcome to my bathroom.
So When it comes to being more resilient, a lot of people probably think that being more resilient means just try harder or suck it up or get over it, right? They think that the way to be more resilient, the way to overcome obstacles, is to just force yourself to be motivated and to keep going even if things aren't working. And while grit is a great characteristic, just forcing it can't be your only tool. If you really want to be more resilient, you've got to have a toolbox of skills to rely upon when it all hits the fan. So in this video, you'll learn 6 ways to be more resilient. And I'm going to give you lots of examples of how to be resilient from Laura's channel. So let's get better at feeling.
Idol power. Lancome.
Better flour makes better dough, which makes better bread.
All right, back to resilience. Resilience means to bounce back. So for example, rubber is resilient. Resilience means just getting back up one time more than getting knocked down. Now, I think some people think that mental strength comes from just being super tough, from being super strong, but I would disagree. Ice is strong, but it's not resilient. Resilience is this combination of toughness and flexibility. Like a trampoline, right? The nylon on a trampoline actually doesn't move or stretch. It's very strong and very, unstretchy, but the springs are stretchy. So it's this combination of strength and flexibility that makes a trampoline resilient. Okay? Resilience is not just the same thing as trying over and over again. It's not just trying harder. It's not just willpower. It's trying something differently. So that's the first trait of resilient people. It's a belief that everything is figure-outable. It's a growth mindset. It's an attitude that if I don't have the skills now, I can learn them. That if I come across a problem that I don't know how to solve, I will learn the skills to solve that problem. Now, in her latest series, Laura is trying to renovate a house, a really old house. And they keep coming across all of these big problems that they did not expect.
Hey everybody, and welcome to my house. My house full of surprises, and not only good ones.
So this house is a really old house with water-damaged walls and all sorts of unexpected problems. And Laura is not a contractor. She's never renovated a house before. She's a maker and she's a designer.
That's bad. I think that's bad. I still love the house. I still think it's worth rescuing it.
And she thought the house was pretty solid before they started the renovation. So as she starts coming across problems that are much bigger than her ability to solve, at first she feels overwhelmed and discouraged, but then she uses her resilient mindset and she says, we'll figure this out.
This is good. Like, I learned how this house works, and we will be able to fix this.
Resilient people see every problem they face as an opportunity to learn a new skill and improve themselves.
I mean, I heard so much comments about last week's video where I talked about the water damage, and I was so surprised, like, oh yeah, this is bad. I didn't even notice. It is worse than I thought, but I don't mind it because I know I can fix it, and I know that I learned from it. It's all good.
Almost every time they come across a new, difficult, expensive problem with the house, like, for example, finding out that there's electrical wiring behind the shower, or that there's mold or asbestos or a beam is rotting, Laura is a great example of resilience. She says, well, it's good we learned about this problem because now we can fix it. Now, because she has a growth mindset, every time Laura comes across a new problem, she researches it, she finds out the names for things, and she explores what the solution is.
Don't see any ants. I don't know what to do. How would you Google this? I saw an ant. Should I tear out my ceiling?
Now, I saw this recently with one of my clients. I mentioned to her that the process she was going through of learning to be kinder with herself could be called reparenting. And as soon as she had a word for it, she started listening to podcasts and reading articles on that topic. And that helped her make a ton of progress, both in her parenting and in herself. So resilient people, when they come across a problem in their relationships or in their emotions or in their mental health, they ask other people, what skill am I missing? What can I learn to resolve this? And so that leads us to the second trait of resilient people. They don't try to do everything alone. They don't pretend to be self-sufficient. They build a team. They reach out for support. They ask for help. Now, this may be seen as a sign of weakness to some people, but it's actually a trait of resilient people.
Stay an amateur, and I love being an amateur, but with a serious project like a house and serious topics like electricity, asbestos, I think it is the better choice to call some pros. So I hope I find some people that I can work with. I have some people in mind, but I think you can expect a little bit of team building for Haus Lieselotte.
Laura hired a photographer, she reached out to her community for suggestions, and she found some experts in her field to help her. So when things get hard, she just reaches out even more. And this takes a lot of vulnerability, especially on the internet.
I talked to a bunch of people and they told me, this is how you do it. It works. It turns out that the internet disagreed, and I got 700 comments telling me that I compromised the load-bearing wall and that this is not the right way to do it, and they were right. In the back of my head, I was thinking, maybe this was not the best choice. And I think there was a very, very interesting moment because the internet got a chance to react to the video, and we listened to you guys and made a video about it, and now it's fixed.
Now, with mental health, shame prevents a lot of people from reaching out. If you're struggling with depression, shame says, oh, don't tell anyone. If you have a history of trauma, shame says, oh, hide that from people. If you're having difficulties in your marriage, just, shame says, pretend like everything's fine. You may look strong on the outside, but not seeking help actually makes you more fragile, not resilient. It's super hard for me to ask for help, but in the last year I've been forced to. And honestly, I've seen wonderful results. So resilient people replace shame with vulnerability and connection. Okay, number 3. The next trait of resilient people is that they have skills for tolerating uncomfortable emotions, or they develop those skills. These are things you can learn. It's not just something you have or don't have. They work on these skills. So in this clip, Laura finds out that all of the beams in her house have been damaged by ants.
Do you find yourself holding back in life because you don't feel confident with how you look? Are you tired of trying to change yourself to fit in with society?
Okay, so it's the next morning. The surprise yesterday was a little bit overwhelming, and we didn't know how to handle the situation, so we decided to just go home and sleep on it. So yeah, we have to react to this, and I think the first thing we need to find out is, how do we get rid of the ants? Do we have to kill them? Are we allowed to kill them? Is there maybe a way to resolve this more friendly? So I will call the nature
police.
The nature police. I will call the nature police and ask if they have experience with that kind of ant problem. And then I think it's very important to understand how big the damage is. So
now, Laura gets overwhelmed, stressed out, and worried.
I don't know if I'm brave or stupid, to be honest. I don't know if I don't know anymore if this is the right thing to do or if this is just like a waste of.
But she doesn't feel ashamed to have normal emotions. She just works through them. She often doesn't know what to do next to solve her problems with her house, and they get increasingly more expensive. So she takes breaks. She sleeps on it. She works on a different project for a while. She takes a vacation and she comes back with a fresh approach. She eats ice cream and other yummy food with her friends, and she pets her dog. Now, she must be under a lot of pressure, but she has faith that she can work through the problems, and she just takes this sustainable approach to solving problems instead of, sprinting about in a panic about everything that's a catastrophe. So she has developed the skills to tolerate uncomfortable emotions. Okay, the fourth trait that resilient people develop is that they learn to focus on what they can control instead of focusing on what's out of their control. So Laura, while she's working on her big house, while she's renovating her big house, she needs a place to live in. So she has this tiny house that she's building. It's a side project. And things didn't go perfectly with that either.
Raining so much here in Germany lately. Basically for the last 8 weeks it has been raining non-stop, and that led to water damage because we didn't have the time and the supplies to finish the roof and the siding. So the house is somewhat open. It should be waterproof enough. Turns out it wasn't. So we had to replace all the insulation and we had to tear out the floor again. This is soaking wet. Ready to fix the mess?
Yeah.
Good. I got new tape, new seal.
Uh-huh.
We got new insulation. I think we have everything we need to fix the water damage.
She can't stop the rain from having ruined her tiny house, but she can move it under a shelter and make repairs. She can't fix the dry rot in her beams, but she can learn how to replace them. So in a 2005 study on resilience, researchers said depression is hopelessness and helplessness. And so resilience is the opposite. Resilience is accepting what you can't change and focusing your energy and attention on what you can change. You are not helpless. You do have control over many aspects of your life. And a simple way to develop this skill is to just frequently do the locus of control activity. If you don't know what that is, watch my video on it. Okay, number 5, flexibility. Resilient people learn to be flexible in their thinking and adaptive to changing situations. They develop the ability to adjust their strategies and tactics in order to find solutions. Albert Einstein reportedly said, "Insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." Now, if your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? Super rigid thinking can actually contribute to mental illness. But flexible thinking can be very resilient, right? People who struggle with mental health may try the same thing over and over again. So for example, let's say you make a mistake. The thing you try over and over again is beating yourself up about it. So you make a mistake, you beat yourself up. You make a mistake, you beat yourself up. And that's the only thing you try when it comes to that mistake. Can you see how that might make you mentally ill? If you feel anxious about a social situation, maybe your only tool is to just avoid it and avoid it and avoid it, right? That's not going to help you. One of the biggest things I've learned as a therapist is that there are dozens of things you can try for every problem you face. I've got an entire toolbox for anxiety, right? Willingness, diffusion, acceptance, mindfulness, grounding skills, deep breathing, cognitive treatments, nutritional treatments, sleep treatments, medication, relational skills, and on, right? Resilient people are able to identify problems and develop creative solutions in order to move forward. They're not afraid to take risks, and they're just willing to try new things and accept failure as part of the process.
Setbacks and failure not only comes on one level, it can come on multiple levels. So when you think you're dealing with the failure from last time, okay,
Yeah?
I think we're over the hump. I think we got it now. It's straight. You're repairing it, you get hit with a new thing that goes wrong all the time. It's like kung fu. You get hit with all these unforeseen circumstances and you become a kung fu master. So now when I was fixing the water damage, it just didn't stop raining. It got worse and worse, and we were so close to facing another water damage. Fahr ganz außen rum.
Resilient people just keep experimenting with new approaches. They try to solve a problem from different angles, and they practice accepting failure as just being part of the process. No one likes failure, but you can learn to be good at tolerating it. Okay, the 6th thing that resilient people practice is one of my favorite traits that Laura has. She laughs. When things are bad, she laughs. Sometimes there's nothing else she can do.
But I think it's important to learn to make your own calls and make your own decisions and only take advice from people that you are willing to forgive. Hey, pretty much just the roof. I didn't know what it was and thought like, this is not a problem, I hope.
Now, Marjorie Pay Hinckley said, the only way to get through life is to laugh your way through it. You either have to laugh or cry. I prefer to laugh. Crying gives me a headache. So there you have it. 6 ways to be more resilient. Number 1, have a growth mindset. Every challenge is figure-outable and an opportunity to learn. Number 2, replace shame with connection. Reach out for support and build a support network. Number 3, develop skills for regulating uncomfortable emotions, like take breaks and do some self-care. Number 4, focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Number 5, be flexible and try new things. Number 6, laugh. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. Laura, if you see this, I hope you agree. Okay, thanks for watching, and
I am just going to share my other screen again. So this was really a nice way. Maybe I should just switch on my, sorry, I just want to see where is my video. Oh my goodness, sorry about that, guys. Okay. So it was such a nice example for me, and she made it so practical. And I thought there's 6 things that we can do in everyday life, and in that 6 things, there's even more things that we can take out. And what I wanted to just stress for you. So the first one is everything is figure outable. It was such a nice word for me. It was, you know, it's just a nice word. So I think we must develop that. Oh, sorry, guys. Now there's some stuff on my. I think we must think about how can we make a plan. Maybe that's the easiest way to think about it. We must make plans. Build skills to regulate uncomfortable emotions. So I just wrote there jumping jacks, count to 10, and breathe. So when I was preparing for this talk, I thought of how do we regulate our emotions? And then I thought to write down these 3 things, because the reason I wrote them down is they give your brain an opportunity to get oxygen. It gives your brain an opportunity to calm down in that moment. And the moment your brain calms down, you get kind of a brain shift from your flight and freeze and flight reaction to your cognitive part of your brain. And that's the part how you can make easier decisions. And that it's kind of the thinking part of the brain. So that enables you to think better. Maintain a support network. I think if you've joined in previous talks, then somebody has already spoken about that for quite some time. Develop healthy coping mechanisms. We all know these: exercise, journaling, meditation, any creative activities. And then focus on what you can control rather than what you can't. And the last one, take care of yourself. And she said in her example, she made use of love. But other ways you can take care of yourself is prioritize sleep, nutrition, and self-care. And I think we all struggle with that. So we actually need to just open our diaries and schedule a time for yourself every week to either do some self-care or do some healthy coping mechanism exercises, journaling, meditation, whatever works well for you. And maybe today you sit here and you think, oh my gosh, that sounds extremely overwhelming. But I want to challenge you. Take one of these things and go and sit and think about it for 10 or 20 minutes. And give yourself one goal to reach within the next month. One of these 6 things you can try, and you can build your own resilience. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the talk. And I don't know if there is any questions. You are welcome to ask if there are any questions. So if there's no questions, then I will close the session off. Yes, Mr. Mashalani, you are welcome. Mr. Mashalani, you are muted. Should I unmute you? Let me just see. No. Yes, there you go. There, I can hear you.
Yes, madam. What I wanted to know is avoidance part of resilience? Wherein you avoid something and you go and sit and refocus in order for you to come and tackle it in another way. Best, such that you get a solution.
Yeah. Okay. So let's distinguish between avoidance and a way to tackle the problem. So that's two things. Avoidance means you avoid the situation or you avoid the problem because you don't feel capable to handle the problem. But when you take time off and you turn away from the problem, and let's take the example that she used in the video. She was eating ice cream and she was playing with the dog, and then she went on a break, or she started another project. The other house that she was building is another project that she took on. So that is, I would call that time off, or let's reframe this problem. Let's just break away and have time to think about it and then come back and tackle the problem again. So that would work. That would help you. I remember when I was at school, I struggled with mathematics. So if I struggle with this problem, I would stand up from my desk and I would go and take a run. And then I come back and I try that problem again. That helped me and my brain to shift, and it helped my brain to look for other opportunities in this problem. But avoiding the problem would be to not do your homework at all. You understand? I hope I answered your question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you did, but I thought that when you say take time off from the problem,
yeah,
and avoiding, now it means once you said avoiding, you expatiated by saying you tend to stay away from it. Whilst if you take time off, at the end of the day, you need to go and try to solve it.
Yeah.
That's what I understood you to say.
Yes.
But as well, I was as well looking at it from the same perspective to say, here is somebody who wants to fight with me. I avoid that person, go and say, oh, this is my best friend. We've been together for the past 5 years. Let me just give him that time to cool off. And after 3 hours, 4 hours again, my friend didn't understand.
Yeah.
Now we are tackling the problem.
Yes.
Instead of saying, I'm avoiding this person for the rest of my life.
Exactly. Yes. No, you are 100% correct. So it's good for the both of you to just calm down. And then that mind shift also happens anyway. So you don't avoid the problem entirely. You just step away and get that mind shift, and then you go back and face the problem. That is perfect.
Okay. Now the issue of one's time. How do you create one's time? How do you create the time for how do I create time for myself? Because there is a lot of work.
Yeah.
At work, at home, we're doing a homework. We are like now, those kids of ours at home. We are sitting down, we're doing homework until 11. How do you create this? When do you get time for oneself to say, this is my time, I own it. How did you create yours? And
Yes.
how did you allow your husband to create his, if possible? How did you allow yourself, your kids, to create their own time? That's the question I'm trying to ask.
Okay.
In this busy world that we are living in.
Yes, yes. That's definitely a very good question, because we are not kind to ourselves. We give our children, our work, and everybody in our lives a lot of time except ourselves. And that is the one thing that is, I think, if I can maybe say it very bluntly, it's killing us. The stress and being overworked and only focusing on other people and other people's problems and our job, it's actually killing us. So we can't create more time in a day. We have 24 hours in a day. That's what we have. We can't make it less, we can't make it more. So it all comes down to two things. If I can explain it like that. The one is you have a choice, and the other one is you can manage your own time. So this is not the easy answer, but my answer would be you have a choice on what and when and where you spend your time. And the next one is plan your time accordingly. If you plan ahead, then you can tell someone, okay, listen, I am fully booked for this week, but Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, I am actually scheduling ahead of time. This is my time that I spend on myself. Whether it's often what me and my husband, we ourselves do is we just wake up earlier in the morning. We would wake up 30 minutes earlier. And I think what is important is also to realize that this time that you spend on yourself doesn't have to be a whole lot of time, but it has to be regular. So even if you decide, okay, let's try for 10 minutes, I like meditating or I like journaling or whatever, you set aside 10 minutes for the whole week. And if you stick to that, you will definitely grow into that the routine, and then you will, before long, you will be able to do that every day, or maybe you can increase your 10 minutes to 20 minutes for the week. And that is already a step forward. I don't think we should try to do big things and have a lot of time spent on ourselves, but try with the small steps and start small and do something small for yourself.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
I hope I helped. Any other
Okay.
questions? Okay, I see we are also a little bit over the time, so I won't keep you much longer. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk again next time. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you, Mr. Mashalani. Have a nice day.
Same to you.